Hey guys, Mike Reese here for Martial Arts Chat. Today, I got a couple of different things. One, I want to kind of go over a scenario that my wife was actually in, and we can kind of go through it, and maybe we'll talk about what she could have done, or maybe what you suggest, or maybe something that you could have, you maybe teach if you even think about this scenario, because it's kind of an off a wall type of scenario. It's not like something that you go, man, that happens every day. Let's sit down and talk about this, cohesively. It's not like something that happens so frequently that you're going, yeah, we need to talk about this. This is a some phenomena that's just happening all over the places. No, it's not. The other thing I'm going to talk about today is basically kind of like the evolution of martial arts, military arts, and you guys all know my view on this. I'm going to first break into the evolution of the art. Okay, now I've had some interesting comments and stuff on my videos lately, and I thank you guys, all of you that are participating and commenting and sharing this. I'm so grateful for you guys to do that, because I like seeing that people are actually watching this, and if people want to do this, I mean, I don't mind, man. Follow me at Twitter. Like I said, I put it down below all the time, and that way everybody, we can just talk about that on Twitter too, man. Just send me a tweet, send me something that we'll talk about martial arts, or give me a topic, something. One of the things that I want to talk about, though, is one of the comments was, he was talking about how, and we all have expressed this, and I've had this conversation with friends of mine, too, that, the older traditional arts, they are battle tested. I should say, they were battle tested. They were designed as these types of actual ways of defeating your opponent in battle. These are actual movements and stuff like that. But as I'm going to continue on with this, I want everyone to understand, I'm not saying this against anyone, but I want you to think about it. That's my main purpose behind this. I understand that these things were battle tested, but you have to put in the were. They were battle tested at that frequent time. And it's all based off of one area. If we talk about Japan, we're talking about jiu-jitsu and different forms of karate that, eventually came derivatives from this. If we talk about China, we'll be talking about like wushu, not what you see Jackie Chan and Jet Li do. We're talking wushu. Wushu was actually considered the name of it when it was an actual combative form, was wushu. Okay, kung fu is everything. Kung fu is a mastery of whatever. You can have coffee making kung fu. I mean, it really is just as a mastery. It's not a thing. You know what I mean? But wushu was the actual, fighting form. You got your chun fas, you got your, and the derivatives for this, and any type of, chin na, any type of grappling systems that they had back then as well. And then of course, we can go on and go on and go on. It doesn't matter. They were made for those areas. Okay, it was made entirely for that area and that period of time. Now, knowing that, we talk about stupid flies. We talk about how about what is it done now? Is it good still to this day? A lot of people would argue that yes, 500-year-old or 100-year-old or whatever, however old the art is, Okinawan Tay or whatever they do, is still relevant today. Some guys would say, oh, I think it's good, but you have to put you kind of have to have a different type of setting, and it also falls down to purely how are you training? How are you training in that style? How are you training with that system of combat? Because there's a lot of other things out there now that, I mean, people have free access to that you didn't have access to. You mean 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have access to it as easily as we do now. So we're talking, stupid fly. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So we're going to continue on this thing as how do you evolve it? Because one of the things I got was, one of the comments, it was on their lines. This is not a direct quote. It was on the lines of, these were battle tested techniques, and or these are battle tested techniques, and And it's like, yeah, they were, and it worked back in a day that everything was close quarters and everything had armor. I mean, and we're talking motions, shields, all this, the plating, all that stuff. It all had something to do with how to do this with your opponent up close and personal. So yeah, there's some in that regard. Having a close quarters battle with these people with hand-to-hand combat is possibly better. But even then, they were going right back to their weapon, going right back to the tool that they use. The whatever it was that they were fighting with, they'd go back to it. They weren't going to just go hand-to-hand with everybody. That's all made for movies, man. Some guy walking in and just doing hand-to-hand combat with everybody in the room. That's a movie thing. And honestly, that's ridiculous in a real-life situation. That's the thing that we've got to get out of our head is we're not going to hand-to-hand fight everyone in the world. Okay? There has to be some sort of understanding that we are, if we're teaching this properly, if we're getting into this properly, we're learning weapons. And I'm not talking katanas. I'm not talking spears. I'm not talking that kind of stuff. Because how regularly is that used? A knife, a tomahawk, and guns are used, and machetes are used. More than any, if you want, just take out the firearms. Knives, axes, machetes. Those are used. More common than anything else in combat or even in a street altercation. Why? Because you can get a hand axe at Walmart for like $10. I can get a knife cheap, like for $5 at Cabela's, or just, you have one in your kitchen. And machetes, again, $10, man. I can go grab so basically I have this big blade, $10. I mean, people are more regulated to do something with those than they would, say, if I can't get a hold of a firearm, then I'm going to use that. Chains, things like that, 2x4s, baseball bats. So basically we're talking about these things. And in combat, we're going to talk about the lethal ones, which are bladed. I mean, if you want to talk about an asp or anything like that, we can talk about sticks. Things like that can be used in the street more often. Pretty rarely are you going to find someone carrying a katana around and he's going to use that, or an English broadsword, or some sort of long sword, or a fencing foil, a rapier, or a cutlass. Let's face facts. Some of these things had their time. Is it fun to train with those? Yes, it's fun to train with those. And can some of those techniques translate? Sure, they could. Are they going to be exact translations? No, they're not. Are you taking that level, though, and going further in that training? Maybe. More than likely not, though. I mean, the facts are, people, unless they are in martial arts for several years, and they are not just the hobbyists, which is probably the biggest amount of people that are in martial arts, they're learning things because they want to either be discovered for movies, or they are doing this because mom and dad stuck them in something and this was what they were more interested in because of the action films. That's the biggest amount of people. It used to, I'm telling you now, it's not what it used to be. As a person who tried to open up a school, self-defense does not sell like it used to. It does not sell like it used to. And you're only appealing to people, if you're doing just self-defense, you're only appealing to a very small group of people. That's why you have to be in on seminars and stuff like that if you're only doing tactical or self-defense types of schooling. And it's because it's not appealing to everyone. It's just appealing to those that feel that they need that kind of that kind of knowledge in their life. And a lot of people are ignorant, and they sit around and they don't believe that they need any of that. And as far as I'm talking about, you have to evolve this style. What I'm saying is it okay to learn karate, learn goju, learn Okinawan-te, learn Shotokan, learn Bakwa, learn Silat, learn all these stuff, learn Muay Thai, learn kickboxing, learn whatever you want to learn. But make sure if you're doing this if you're going to talk to me about actually having a battle tested, then actually you're going to have to probably manipulate it and evolve that style, because what was relevant then is not relevant now. What you believe is going to be good then is not going to be good enough now. And the reason why is because of the mass amounts of information and how used people are to seeing it, dealing with it, and even playing with it themselves. Even if they're not really skilled or actually trained, they've seen it in some fashion. Whether it's a movie on TV in the fights now, I mean, it's just more open. It's not like you're catching people off guard when you start throwing kicks. People are used to that now. And it's funny how people go, still believe it. And now, there's people out there that are still ignorant, and they think that kicking and all that stuff, I saw a movie clip of the Grudge Match. I think it's called Grudge Match or something, or it's a Grudge Match or something like that. And it has Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, which both of them played boxing parts back in their younger days. I think it's funny that they're boxers again. And they were at a UFC fight, and they were talking trash about it. And Chael Sonnen does a cameo in the movie, and he goes, yeah, you know who else does kicking in a fight? Girls. So it's like there are people out there that still have that kind of mentality. Now, does that mean they're not used to seeing it? No. Does it mean they'll ever throw it? Probably not. But it doesn't matter, that they'll still see it. They're not going, whoa, what's that guy doing? Most people, if they're fighters, they train for whatever is going to come their way. Whether it's a kick to the groin or whatever, you actually are going to be aware of this kind of stuff. Like street fights, they look stupid when it's two street fighters, because I say that because they look ridiculous. No one takes initiative at all. It's the person who takes the first initiative and just totally lays in everything they have that pretty much wins that fight. But we shouldn't look at them as the way. We can look at that as how that person win. We can see the good points of it, and basically say that person won because he took initiative. He took the ground of the other person, and he basically outmaneuvered him, and then hit him in a vital spot with the proper rotation and penetration of the shot that he had. And that's what they do, and that's what they do right. Doesn't matter if they look sloppy or anything like. No, because he still landed the punch and the guy's still on the ground. As martial artists, we shouldn't get caught up in my karate was a very good system, and it's like, well, that's awesome. And I'm not saying that it's not good now. I'm just saying you have to start lifting it up. You got to step it up, modernize what you have. Don't let it stay here. We can't say, well, it was good back then, so it's still good today. That's not going to be the case, and it's not the case. You're going to have to push it forward. You're going to have to make yourself go forward a little more. You have to think more than just what your teacher told you. You have to think more than it was good then, but it's not relevant now. So you have to push yourself to go a little further. Violence is a little different now. And people say, well, how is that different? Violence has escalated. Whether people want to believe it or not, violence has escalated. And I can guarantee, and are you learning from people who know for a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that's the battle-tested stuff that you have? I can guarantee the vast majority of people who are learning stuff, it's not the battle-tested stuff. They just say it was for years and years and years, so everyone assumes it is. It doesn't mean that it is. Okay? So you have to push it, you have to test it, you have to do that yourself. Okay? You can't just stick around and just kind of go, well, it was good then. No. You gotta keep moving forward. You can't just accept it. Okay? And you can put all the jargon you want into it. You can give me the timelines and lineages and the Japanese characters all day long, or the Chinese characters. I'm gonna tell you guys now. I respect the fact that you put that much research, that much thought into the history of the style, but that does not make you a better fighter, and it does not make you the one that you should go to for the self-defense part, and does not mean that it's actually combat ready. So that's the whole purpose behind this. You can give me all this all day long. You can tell me all this stuff. You can wow me with your knowledge. You can wow me with how intricate your mind and your research has gone into the history of all this stuff. But in the reality of things, that will not matter in the long run when I lay you out on the ground with a simple punch, because you just simply weren't ready. You got to push yourself a little further, and you got to go a little higher, and you got to remember, this is not then, this is now. Think now. Is it good now? Is it relevant now? And am I just going by what people have told me, or am I actually knowing this firsthand, that all the techniques are good? Okay? And that's it. I'm not saying that they're not, and I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, are they? If they are, good. Then that's a good thing to know. That's a good thing to push yourself on. That's awesome. But don't give me a history lesson to think for 1 second that means anything to me. Okay? Because it doesn't. So just think about it now. Think about the relevancy of it today and now, and if it really is something that's worth anything. Okay? And now the scenario part. This one, I don't mind. I would like a little bit of a conversation on. I'd like to have a little bit more of few more comments on this one. My wife was just going to work, man. She was driving. She was on the highway. She's driving, and this guy pulls up next to her. She said she didn't notice anything. She's just driving back and forth, trying to speed up, trying to slow down, trying to get so she can get over in the lane. Finally, she looks over. She said she has her sunglasses on, so he can't see everything. Can't see her face. Can't see the looks on her face. She looks over, and he gives her this. No, the sound didn't bleep out. That's what he did to the window. Of course, I'm exaggerating. It's like this douchebag thought, oh man, she's gonna fall in love with me. Now, like I said, that's an exaggeration, but he gave her that. It's like, give me a break, dude. Really? You think you're either that smooth or you just that freaking crazy, man. And fact is, someone does that person's crazy. He don't know you. He don't see you. All he did was mouth something. He's nuts. That person thinks he's going to get something right at that moment because he is a fool. Or, let's face facts, he has a plan to make sure he does. Freaked her out. At first, she thought he was just trying to say, hey, something's wrong with your tire, something's wrong with your light, something like that. And that's why she even looked over at all. Now, it was like, uh-oh, full-on freak out. She said she went through all these things. She took off on an exit that wasn't hers. She did these. This guy followed her, drove even more stupid than she did because he was keeping up with her. So he was acting like an idiot and still trying to follow it, so it freaked her out. She gives me a call, and I told her, I said, well, you got your pepper spray, you have a knife, get somewhere in public, and if he pulls, I said, and call the police. I said, make sure you call the police and let them know what's happening, and give them a description, give them all that stuff. Well, she was too freaked out to even do any of that. She didn't even want me off the phone. But finally, I have her on the phone, and she looks over at him. She just looks and screams at him. He can't hear her. She doesn't have the window down or nothing. Leave me alone. I hear it on the phone. And I guess he turns off. Because he saw, one, she's on the phone. Two, she's screaming at him. So he leaves. He takes off. Now, in retrospect, that wasn't a bad idea. That was good. Because that guy was like, oh no, she's calling the police. You know what I'm saying? But what she should have done, and this is still my belief, and I still told her this, she should have just made sure everything she had was prepared. She had her pepper spray, she had her blade, she had a phone, so she needed to call the police, tell them a location, get where they needed to go, basically go to that location, say, okay, be at this location, I'm going there now, this person's going to end up following me. Get to that location, make sure it's a public location, because you don't want to be like isolated, because that's all they're trying to do. He's trying to isolate you. So don't stay isolated, get to that public location, and have stuff ready. If the police had not shown up yet, have things ready. That person comes over, spray them in the face. If it gets too aggressive, knife that fool. Okay? That's just how it works, knife, and she probably wouldn't do the knife thing, but she would definitely spray him and kick him in the balls. That's for a fact. So, whatever works, the techniques you use, whatever you've been taught, but at the same time, just be prepared to take on someone that may not be right in the head. But the best thing to do is get it on. And honestly, that way you can give them a description. That way they can see the make of the car. They can see the make and model of the car. They can know who the guy is. They have his tags. They have all that stuff. They know who this person is. That way they can do their job if the person gets away. That way he doesn't get a chance to do it again. I don't know. What do you guys think of this scenario? You tell me what you think she should have done. I'd like to know. And let's get to the point before she starts fighting, though. Get to that point first, what she should have done before then. Because let's face facts, she was in a vehicle, and ramming him off the road is not an option. She's not ruining my car to ram some fool off the road. You guys tell me what she should have done, and remember, this is not a movie. Let's be honest about what we're doing, okay? And I will talk to you guys next time, and we'll keep talking about martial arts, keep talking about it truthfully.